useless!
What's going on, guys? You're chilling with Trainer Zabuza, and today I've got an OU battle for you with my standard OU team versus what looks to be another standard OU team with a little bit of a lower tiers mixed in with that, and I kind of like that. Threats. I'm gonna say Talonflame because it's got, with priority Brave Bird, it really is a threat pretty much every time, and you need to watch out for it. I'm gonna say Garchomp too because that could be seriously powerful. It could be Mega, Scarf, Banded. There's a bunch of different variety sets you can run, which don't make it any less powerful. Plus, that speed stat is crazy. And finally, I guess the last threat may be Ferrothorn, because I only... well, maybe not. I mean, I've got two things. There's like a tie for Ferrothorn and maybe Lantern. I know saying Lantern's weird, but it does have Volt Switch, and the Assault Vest set is pretty good, so... and it has a really good HP stat, so you can't really underestimate that. But anyway, let's just get to the battle. Today, my opponent is TehYakAttack. This was a battle I think we had on a stream a while ago. And I just want to warn you, this is kind of a long battle, so buckle your seatbelts. He's going to lead with Lantern as I lead with my Rotom to try and get a Volt Switch off. But I guess this was his same thinking too, because he goes for the Volt Switch. And I go into my Amoonguss, which I'm immediately regretting because he goes into Talonflame. And I'm going to pull back into my Reptar to take the Brave Bird or the Flare Blitz, because it can take it pretty well. And he goes for the U-turn. Great. I'm thinking that this is probably a banded set at this point, because he didn't take any recoil there, and he could be running Expert Belt, but from that damage, I'd say he's probably just banded. So I need to worry about that. He goes into Garchomp, goes to the Iron Head, interestingly enough, as I switch into my Copper Bird, and I'm not really sure what he's thinking. I will tell you this right now, that I'm facing his team is kind of ironic, which by the way I set up spikes, because it looks like he's using a solid Volt Turn team. At least he has two Pokemon with Volt Turn to take advantage of that. My team has a Volt Turn break built into it, if that makes any kind of sense. Because Skarmory resists U-turn, and Amoonguss resists Volt Switch, and they make a really good defensive core. So, despite what you say, Swaglith, it's not stall, I'm just breaking your core. I'm breaking Volt Turn with this core, okay? I don't try and stall with the team, I just break cores. Anyway, shenanigans happen. He goes for Brave Bird as I go into my Copper Bird, predicting the U-turn. He could have gone for the Flare Blitz just as easily, but that means I get a free switch into my Tyranitar to set up rocks. And I take this opportunity to set up some more spikes, because with the way he's switching in and out, I'm definitely going to want my hazards up. As he knows this, goes into Blastoise to get off the Rapid Spin, and I don't care, my Amoonguss is going to put in work. Because he can get off the Rapid Spin if he wants, that's fine. But I can always just Giga Drain, get the HP back, or Spore something on his team. And I'm thinking I just want to go for the substitute to scout what I want to Spore. As he goes into his Dragon Thorn, and this was really a choice move on my part. I knew he'd bring in this, expecting the Spore, and I go for the Superpower, just praying he thinks I have Ice Punch for defense, because there was no other reason I'd bring in my Azumarill. But thankfully, it works out okay. I'm able to go for the Superpower and get rid of a massive threat right off the bat. But he knows now that I'm banded, so he's going to go into his Talonflame, go for the U-turn, which it could have backfired on him if I didn't switch out. As I go in my Rotom, take the U-turn, and I don't want to take a Scald quite yet, so I'm just going to double back into my Amoonguss. And while I won't appreciate the residual, it's still better than having my Rotom knocked out right now. But he's going to get scared out as he goes for the Volt Switch, so I know he's not like Assault Vest. Well, he could be Assault Vest. I know he's not choice locked or anything, as now I go for the substitute to scout what he wants to put to sleep. And the next turns, I guess, are a little confusing. He goes for Wish as I go for Sludge Bomb to get off damage, and I end up getting the poison here, but it's weird. I knew it was a possibility he could Aromatherapy to get rid of it, but I honestly thought he would try and Wish Pass into something. I don't remember what's low on HP at the moment. It'll probably come to me later, but I honestly didn't think he'd go... I knew it was a possibility, but I didn't think he'd go for the Aromatherapy. So I go for Spore, which actually worked out pretty well for me, because even though he's at HP, the Wish didn't get passed into anyone. His Cleric is now asleep, which means I can do pretty much whatever I want. As he goes into his Gale, as I switch out into my Reptar to try and get up rocks, because with Regenerator, I can waste subs all I want. And this is really unfortunate because I can't get up my rocks as long as the matchup is Talonflame versus Tyranitar, because that U-turn just does way too much. And I have to switch out into my Skarmory as he brings in this Lantern again, and I know the Volt Switch is coming. This is the same old song and dance. Bring in my It's-a-me, my Mungus, and he's going to go for the Volt Switch. So now he's going to go back into Talonflame and rinse and repeat. This is going to happen a few times throughout this battle, so you might as well get used to seeing it. But I do think that my Mungus is specially defensive, not physically defensive, so I do have to be careful in case I want to take hits or anything. Here he goes for Flare Blitz, predicting my Skarmory. I predict that and go into my Cookies. And I am faster since I'm Scarfed, but I think he knows this. That's the only reason why I bring it in. And he's not willing to risk it, as he goes into his Godzilla, which I think that's so funny. Calling Garchomp Godzilla, that's so damn funny. And this is how I find out that his Garchomp is Scarfed. So once he locks himself into a move, I don't have to worry about it. But with Skarmory, who resists or is immune to all of his hits, and it's physically defensive, I don't have to worry about it anyway. But on this switch, I can just set up my spikes, because he wants to keep switching out into this Lantern, and eventually I am going to whittle it down enough to where I can knock it out. But for now, I need to keep the spikes up. I go into Reptar, thinking that I can take the Volt Switch, or if he wants to go for the Scald, I can take that too. I really, really want my rocks up, as he gets a crit Volt Switch. And in comes Gale, and I want the advantage, or I want the initiative here, so I'm just going to go for the Mega, because I think maybe with my increased defenses, I might be able to take a U-turn. Sadly not. Reptar, you're just not that bulky. I'm sorry, bud. But at least you gave me the Switch initiative, which is really cool. The Splash comes back in, so now I'm free to go into my It's-a-me. And as long as I can get a nice switch in here with my Mungus, I'm free to go for stuff like Substitute, set up Spores, all that kind of shenanigans, and get off some free damage behind a sub. So in comes Stalin. I just decided to go for the damage with the Sludge Bomb, and because I thought he would switch into Talonflame, and I really, really wanted some damage off on that, because that thing has been a thorn in my side this entire battle. But no such luck. He's going to pull back his Stalin. I think I go for the Substitute here. I don't quite remember. Again, this is a pretty long battle, so it's hard to remember everything that I do. But I guess I just end up going for the Sludge Roll and trying to take it out. Cat, I swear to God, you ruined that upholstery. I'm going to ruin your face. Fucking cat. Here, I'm sorry, guys. Here I go for the Giga Drain to test the damage as he goes for Earthquake, and it looks like it's pretty good damage, but I don't want to take too many of these. Seeing that he can't knock me out with like 2-hit KO, he's going to pull back into his Toidlinator, and I'm going to pull back into my Skarmory, which I'm immediately going to double back into a Mungus, because this setup, this matchup is not good for me at all, because I can't take special hits, I don't want to get burned, and I know he's going to Rapid Spin, but I'd rather have it in with my Mungus to where I can get off a Substitute or a Giga Drain or something. But he's able to go for the Dark Pulse as I go for the Substitute. I thought he'd switch there, but I guess not. And I'm able to get off a Giga Drain the following turn as he goes for another Dark Pulse. The Dark Pulses are enough to break my Substitute, unfortunately, even though I'm especially defensive. But these Giga Drains are doing massive damage as well, and giving me back some pretty good HP in combination with Black Sludge. So while I kind of want to keep going for these Giga Drains, I knew I should have gone for the sub there. I knew I should have, and I don't know why I didn't. I know Giga Drain would have done more, but him going into Talonflame there was perfect, and I should have predicted it. I really should have. But I'm going to go into my Cookies as he has Roost. He has Banded Roost. Son of a bitch. This guy is really good at taking advantage of his Volt turning. And if I was using any other team besides this one, I probably would not have a chance against this team. Thankfully, since I am using this team, I do have a chance. And on his switch to his Stalin, his Fortress, I'm able to come into my Pixie Fighter, my Azumarill, and nothing wants to take a hit. Nothing does. I go for the Play Rough. I could have gone for the Waterfall, but I couldn't risk not knocking him out. And my Pixie Fighter gets a solid knockout on his Fortress. But he knows that, and he's going to go into his Godzilla. I know that his only best move, he could go for Iron Head, but I know that he knows it wouldn't knock me out. So I go to my Rotom, thinking that his best move is Earthquake, or his most damaging move. So on the switch to Rotom, I'm going to go for the trick as I trick in my Scarf, and I get his Assault Vest, and I'm able to get off some damage with Overheat as he goes for Volt Switch, and he's going to knock me out with a Priority Brave Bird. But you know what? That was fine. I crippled that Lantern, so now it can't take special hits just as well, and it's locked in. So while it can be good for just Volt Turning, it's pretty much crippled. And I'm able to set up my spikes here. I know that he still has the Blastoise, I think. I think he still has the Blastoise. I'm pretty sure I haven't knocked that out yet. And it's the same old song and dance, back into Among Us, Volt Switch, he's going to go back into Talonflame. And it's just not in my favor at the moment. I say at the moment because it can change and it will change soon. Because I'm going to go into my Pixie Fighter because I'm predicting the Flare Blitz again, for predicting his prediction into my Skarmory. And I take that okay, not great, but he knows that I can go for the Aqua Jet now, and I am going to go for the Aqua Jet, just play it safe. But the thing is, it's not a 2-hit KO. It can be a 2-hit KO from there, but if that was max damage, I was not willing to risk it, because I still want my Azumarill for Aqua Jetting just in case. Like, in case I run into that scenario again, I need my Azumarill in case I can get off a priority Aqua Jet. But so, in comes the Garchomp on my Amoonguss. I'm able to get up a substitute as he goes for Earthquake to break the sub, but I'm perfectly okay with that because now that his Florges is gone, I can Spore something else. I'm going to choose this Garchomp, which is a great choice in my opinion, because he won't be able to get off any more Scarf shenanigans, and I can just set up another substitute right in his face and get off a nice hit on this Gale Wings Talonflame. But the thing is, I know he's just going to U-turn. So there's really not a lot of point in going for an attack, because he's just going to U-turn out to break my sub. And just going for another substitute here would actually either confirm he'd go for another U-turn, or it would tell me what he locks himself into. So I thought that going for substitute there was probably the best option. Anyway, he goes into his Lantern as I set up another sub, goes for the Ice Beam. The Ice Beam is not enough to break my sub. Thank you, Specially Defensive Amoonguss. And I'm able to knock him out with the Giga Drain. So I'm behind a sub, and he's got everything he has left doesn't want to take hits. And I know that he could go for the U-turn again here, but there really wouldn't be any point behind it. So I just decided to go for the Sludge Bomb, get off some damage. And I'm not willing to give up Amoonguss yet. I still need it for Blastoise. So I'm going to pull back as he brings in Blastoise now. And I'm going to go into my Greninja just to resist the Flare Blitz. I know it could have been bad. I know it could have. But I know I outspeed this Talonflame since it's banded, and I could have knocked it out. But I'm able to go for the Dark Pulse and knock out his Blastoise, which means all he has left is this Talonflame, I think. So I'm going to let him knock out my Greninja just so I can get some residual damage off on his Talonflame. I can bring in the Pixie Fighter. No, he doesn't have just Talonflame left. He also has Garchomp. I'd let him knock out my Pixie Fighter to let himself get knocked out to recoil. And since Garchomp is left, Skarmory walls it, and I can still send out Amoonguss to go for the Giga Drain. So that was a really good game, TehYakAttack. I'll be completely honest, I would have lost if I did not bring this team. So again, GG, man, just GG. I'll be honest, I don't really want to do a talk of the day today because I've been talking for a long time with that battle, and I actually just finished recording another session. So instead of a talk of the day, I'm just going to give you guys this short clip again, and I hope you all enjoy. I'm sorry, fuck you, Lee.
Yeah.
Alright.
Wait, Brandon, where are you?
Roxanne.
Oh.
Okay, you flash.
Did you lose again?
No, this is first time since I lost.
Alright.
Right.
Yes!
Oh,
Finally
shit.
knocked out her fucking Jinx!
I hate you.
And all that's left is... She had a Hoppip! She had a Hoppip left! Are you fucking kidding me? I lost Jess and everything to Jinx, and all she had left was a Hoppip!